right? If you can connect with the jab, you know you can drop the right hand down the pipe. Luckily, he moved his head in that one because Joe was coming with some punches. See, the thing with Tom is you know he's going to throw one punch at a time, so that's where you got to take advantage of that and counter.
Nice kick, good connection.
Good inside leg kick. I'm sure Joe's a little hesitant when kicking. He doesn't want to hit him in the groin again. The thing is, Joe Clementz has got to cut the ring off. He's kind of following Thomas right now, and as opposed to doing that, he should cut him off. See, he's
there we go.
Very smart on Joe. You know that Thomas is only throwing one punch at a time. That's where you got to jump on your opponent. Right away, you got to come over top of that jab. You slip that jab and come back with some punches. I like that Thomas Duncan in the brown shorts is connecting, but he's got to bring something behind that. When you know that you've touched them, come back with some more shots. Finish up with the hook. That's going to clean everything up. Switching up to a southpaw stance and throwing a jab from that angle. It's kind of a wind-up for that leg.
10 seconds left, no? It's like we might get through the first round finally.
You're hearing a Joe Clementz's corner saying, get the takedown, because they want to kind of bank some points here. Want to impress the judges. And how would you score that round, Shay?
That was pretty even. I think I'd give a slight advantage to
Thomas Duncan?
Thomas Duncan, yeah, definitely.
You know, the
good
funny
recovery from the groin shot, too.
Yeah, Joe Clementz actually, when he put his hands together, put about 5 or 6 punches together, he landed quite a bit, but Thomas looked like more the active fighter. I think Thomas has got to take advantage of him getting the jab off and actually measuring out his opponent. He's got to come with it. He came for the right hand to the body, but if you could finish that up with a hook, you're going to clean everything up, be back in your stance, and probably catch your opponent.
I noticed he didn't throw much more than a 1 or 2 punch combo. Maybe he could work on that a little bit, throw a couple more in there.
Yeah, and this is where we're going to get a chance, as you said, it's so even this first round. We're going to get a chance to see who outworks the other corner. This is the coaching feud right here, and we're going to get a chance to see who gets the best advice.
Who would have thought the big boys were the first ones to get out of the first round?
Yeah, true. Already looking a little tired. I'd like to see Joe try and cut the ring off a little bit on Thomas's lateral movement and see Thomas follow up this jab with some more punches. That's the thing. You got to learn how to counter a jab. When someone throws one punch at a time, you can always counter. And see how he throws his right hand back when he jabs? You can come.
He caught him again.
Did he? How low is his cup? Did he get it right?
It looked like that was a little bit lower, but I mean.
I thought it was too. I thought it was inside the leg.
That's frustrating.
Yeah, it is.
You gotta stick with your game plan, though. I mean, if you don't have the inside leg kick mastered, maybe you should not be throwing it. The last way you want to lose, especially in a belt fight, would be by a disqualification on something like that.
Yeah, good point. And you know, it's probably a little bit trickier with Joe being 6'6". I mean, you have to be really aware of where your legs are as opposed to somebody else's legs.
Once again, due to a low blow, this fighter will get 5 minutes to redeem himself.
All right, another 5 minutes. And again, we have, this is our third title fight. We have 7 total, so 4 more after this one. This is a heavyweight. We also have a super heavyweight. So far, you're a heavyweight fighter, Shay. We're with Shay Brophy, MMA fighter. And Shay, you know, tell me a little bit about what your strategy would be against Joe Clementz, as Joe's in the green shorts. What would be your strategy?
Well, I kind of like the way that they used that first round as a feel out, you know, just figure out what the other guy is thinking, how he's going to come in, and then make your adjustments from there, honestly. You got 5 rounds for a reason. Use them all if you can.
It's good to put your hands up. It's just tough that you can't block as much as you'd like to with little 4-ounce gloves.
Definitely.
But you got to come back. When you get hit, when someone fires on you, fire right back, because usually that's when they're most vulnerable. And both of them very cautious of those low kicks, but not seeing Joe Clementz in the green shorts lighten up on the leg kicks at all.
I like that. The fact that he's not afraid to use it.
Yeah. And Thomas has got to use his feet when he throws those punches. You can't just swing for the fences like that. You have to have your feet under you so you have some balance and stability.
Joe likes to cut off the ring, but he doesn't seem to be throwing many hands when he gets the opportunities.
Getting hit with a huge jab, but it doesn't phase Joe Clementz in the green shorts at all. Coming back, firing, finally tying up.
He's got a leg. takedown. We'll get to see what these guys got on the ground now.
Breathing
Thomas
heavy.
taking some big breaths there. He's tired.
Yeah. We did a lot of running around the cage. Making his way
he
back
might not
up.
be completely recovered from those groin shots. That takes a lot of wind out of you as well.
That's a good point.
He might have a standing guillotine.
Let's see if he has the energy to pull it off. Joe Clementz doesn't seem too concerned because he's still trying to fire. He's not too worried too much about defense.
Little roll around there, and Thomas comes out on top.
He's locking up the leg of Thomas Duncan to make sure he can't get in a mount position. Thomas trying to take advantage of that. These guys are kind of in a standstill. Joel Chapman, the referee, was looking for, see if any damage was done, and also looking for a stalemate at times.
Thomas isn't landing a lot of those shots, but I got to figure those, just a little bit that he is landing, those can never feel good. You don't want to take too many of those, especially coming from a guy that big. 6'6", what, 263 pounds?
Right. You would know, you being a heavyweight fighter, you know what the leather of these guys feels like.
You don't want to take too many of them, I can tell you that for sure. Obviously.
Yeah, we're seeing Joe work really hard on the bottom. But no, it's a good point, because sometimes you don't feel like they're so hard, but the 4-ounce gloves makes it a lot tougher.
Inside of 10 seconds.
Once again, a pretty even round. You didn't see.
I might lean a little bit more towards Joe Clementz in that round, honestly. He cuts off the cage, but when he backs Thomas into a corner, he doesn't capitalize on it.
I don't know. I think Thomas Duncan. Oh no, he didn't. You can't. No quitting. Yo,
don't quit. Come on, man, get up.
Don't quit, buddy.
I wonder if he maybe took another groin shot. I don't know.
No, he's tired.
You can't. Come on, you can't.
It's a groin shot, but not because you were hit there.
That's sad.
You know, you got to remember, when you're tired, your opponent is just as tired. That's where you got to fight through it. That's why it's a fight.
You might call that a disappointing ending.
I definitely would say that. And I'm sure, Joe, you're happy to win, but you don't necessarily want to win like that.
Right. You don't want to win because your opponent win.
You know, both of those guys are tired, and that's what you have to remember. As fatigued as you are, you got to look across the cage and see the face of your opponent, who's also breathing deep. I think Thomas has to learn what is the level of his cardio, and maybe he shouldn't be running around the cage so much when he's trying to box. I mean, sometimes you could sit in the pocket because you have a boxing background, and sometimes just take a half step back. You don't have to keep running laterally around the cage.
Your winner, due to the fighter not continuing, at the end of the second round, and new TWC heavyweight champion, Joe Clementz.
I have to honestly say, I think there's a lot of heavyweights out there looking at this fight saying, you know what, I'll take either of them and try and take that belt.
This guy.
You know, but Joe, yeah, you, exactly. You know, you see Joe getting the belt, moves to 6-0. He is an undefeated fighter, so you have to give him credit for that. But you see in the cage right now, we have another top contender.
This gentleman standing in front of you, his name is Josh Box. He will be the next man to fight you for the hardware you just earned in this very cage. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big round of applause. First for Joe Clementz for winning the belt. How about it? Let's hear it, Lansing. And how about a big round of applause for his next contender, Josh Box.
Well, Joe Clementz getting the title for a heavyweight, moves to 6-0, and you know, he did show some of his jits, and I'm surprised he didn't try and take it to the ground earlier. He stood toe-to-toe with Thomas Duncan, let his hands go, actually more so than Thomas. Thomas threw a great jab but didn't follow it up with anything, but moved too much for what his cardio would allow. And I see you staring down your competition there, Shay.
Yeah,
Now, what would be your strategy against Shay, what would be your strategy against Joe Clementz if you were to face him before a title fight?
Well, I don't know if his cardio is. He looks like he's pretty tired right now.
Yeah.
You know, 2 rounds. I mean, it's a war in there, but
But it's
rounds,
a good
he's
point.
he's
Those
fired
kind of
up.
guys, you want to push the pace.
I feel like my cardio is pretty decent right now. I feel like I would try to take him as long as I could, and then third or fourth, maybe fifth round, try to find an ending.
This fight is for the 155-pound TWC belt.
Gets me going.
Let me introduce first the challenger. Ladies and gentlemen, David Rohn.
All right, David, Rocksteady Rohn coming in with a good record, and he's working with a great team, a Mexican top team. There's a great group of fighters. Grand Haven, Michigan. He is a freestyle fighter, and watch for them to put their hands together. They have a tendency to work really well on their feet and on the ground. So he's coming with a record of 11-1, and he is the challenger coming in looking to take the 155 belt.
I've heard a lot of good things about it, this gym. I'm excited to see what they have to offer here.
A lot of pressure when you walk in and you have this entire flag of your face on it. You better do some damage in here. But clearly, good matchup. I mean, his opponent coming in, Terry VanAvery, 6-0. So this is going to be a top fight. And, you know, we're still looking for our fight of the night, I would say. You know, we've had a couple top contenders. But so far, we know we have our KO, and no one's been able to top that earlier from David Radcliffe. But we're going to get a chance to see if we can get a fight of the night from our title fights. Don't forget, you can check out cagefightinglive.com. Next weekend, 3 amazing events going on next weekend. We have Beatdown at the Dow. That is live from the Dow Center in Saginaw. It's a co-promotion of TXC and the Impact Fight League. Also on May 21st, Genesis Fight League live from the Gibraltar Trade Center in Mount Clemens, Michigan. So that means you could shop while you're there. Go there to shop. Ground and Pound Promotions, their event is also going to be on May 21st, but it's going to be tape delayed, so you'll get a chance to see the event in Owasso, Michigan, and that'll be probably tape delayed till the next day, but you can get all the details on cagefightinglive.com. Check out the website, and make sure you keep up to date on where the events are going to take place and when you can see fights right here on Cage Fighting Live. All right, David Rohn coming in with a big cheering section right behind us.
Got a good following here.
And let me introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, our current 155-pound champion, Terry VanAvery.
All right, Terry getting a lot of boos from the crowd because they're here to see David Rohn steal the title from Terry VanAvery. A record of 6-0. Team Park Alley out of Kalamazoo. All right, coming in the shades. All right, Hollywood. Fighting style, American Jiu-Jitsu. He has had an opportunity to fight for a couple of titles. He was a lightweight champion when he was 19 years old. So putting in his time, getting a good amateur career, and eventually looking to turn pro. He is sponsored by Inked Up Tattoos. I'm sure we'll get a chance to see that when he makes his way into the cage. Cafe Entertainment and Widowmaker. Widowmaker, a huge sponsor of amateur MMA. All right, and Terry VanAvery again is the current 155-pound champion. He's got his whole posse in there behind him. You walk in with all that hardware around you, you want to keep it. You don't want to have to give that sucker up. Travis Travesty will be the referee for this title fight. And again, we still have a few more title fights, so make sure you stay tuned. You can also go to Cage Fight Live on Facebook and put your comments there. If you're a fighter or you want to get involved in any of these, you can look them up and get involved in one of the organizations. Look for fightmichigan.com, find out where all the events are.